You're stepping over a line now.
Okay.
You're stepping over a line. You know you are. I'm just telling you right now, put your manners back in.
Before we sat down, there was an unusual request, an invitation to a session on Scientology, the controversial religion Tom's been following for the past 20 years. So I went, and then I met him. And that's when I discovered there's another side to Tom Cruise, that when he's angry, the cool man of Hollywood can become downright icy.
First speed.
And Tom Cruise.
벌써 내년이면 환갑인 탐 크루즈 형님. 웬만한 건 그가 직접 한다는 아슬아슬한 스턴트보다도 긴장감 넘치는 탐 크루즈의 지난 인터뷰 영상입니다.
How are you?
Hey, Tom.
Peter, how you been, man?
Nice to see you.
Good to see you.
Long time.
I know.
Yeah, take a
How you
seat.
been? Where do you want me to sit?
상대방을 배려하지 않은 막말로 심기를 건드리는 인터뷰 진행자의 무례한 질문에 탐 크루즈는 어떻게 대처하는지 한번 보시겠습니다.
I wanted to be an actor when I was about 4 years old. Yeah, 4 years old. I thought about it. It was the first time I thought of being an actor. I was living in St. Louis. That was the very first time I thought about being an actor. It just evolved. I wasn't necessarily thinking of this. I mean, I didn't plan this out. This just happened. I had what absolutely they defined as learning disabilities, dyslexia.
That's what you were diagnosed that you had?
Sure, absolutely. That's what they do. You've got ADD, ADHD, and you go, what is the solution to that? Well, there isn't a solution. And now today it's take drugs. They actually wanted to put me on drugs. My mother wouldn't let them back then. And then when a friend of mine actually gave me this, it was actually this picture book about suppression, and social and antisocial personalities. And I was, what is this? They said Scientology. I said, oh, I'm very interested. And that's when I became a Scientologist about 20 years ago.
It has obviously had a massive impact on you.
No, it was significant. I mean, you look at, as a father, as an actor, as a businessman. I mean, on every level. It's something these tools that I apply absolutely every day.
Why then was it a condition of me talking to you today that I had to spend quite an intense 4.5 hours in the Church of Scientology here in Los Angeles?
Oh, you didn't have to. You could have said no.
I felt I had to.
Okay. Well, that's how you felt. People are interested in Scientology, and I find that people wanted to know. There's people out there that want help and that need help.
Would you also agree, though, Tom, that there's a perception out there that it gets bad press, cult-like secrecy, controlling, and you almost have to defend it?
I don't feel it's ignorance breeds bigotry.
Right.
Breeds racism. Okay. You have been there and you've seen it for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Do you feel discriminated against when people say this is what Scientology is, that you're a bunch on a lunatic fringe or whatever? Does that...
Peter?
Tom?
No one's ever said that to me.
But no, I mean that perception out there.
Yeah, but that's not the perception out there. That is absolutely, maybe from your perspective.
This isn't my personal opinion. I'm just saying, how do you feel about that when people...
Well, how would you feel?
Oh, if it was my faith, I'd feel
Well, not even your own faith. I find that appalling when people who don't know what they're talking about say things like that. I think it's appalling. I think it's appalling that they're still burning synagogues in France. I think it's appalling how certain Muslims are being treated. I think it's absolutely appalling when we talk about freedom of speech and human rights. I think it's appalling that they electric shock people. I think it's appalling that they drug children. I think it's appalling that they say that there are no solutions for those things. I think it's appalling that people have to live a life of drug addiction, okay, when I have personally helped people get off drugs.
It's obvious Tom Cruise is a passionate man, especially passionate when it comes to his own family.
Your family life was difficult. You're estranged from your father and your mum and dad were divorced. Has that had an impact on you as a dad, how you bring up your children?
Do you have children?
I'm hoping to.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I hope I can.
Good. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I've got a great mother and a very close family. And it's something that I always wanted to be a father, And I think that one of the great things that we've done with our children is allowing them to be themselves.
When you were married, it was like you were an adopted part of Australia. Do you still have a connection to Australia?
Yeah, well, my children are Australian, Absolutely.
Was Nicole the love of your life?
What do you mean, Peter?
You were married for 10 years.
Listen, we raised children. You know, I mean, how do you answer that? How do you answer that question? She's someone that I plan on getting married again.
You do?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
And having kids?
absolutely.
But Nicole was a major part of your life and a love of your life at the time.
I loved Nick very much. There's no question.
Would you like Nicole to remarry?
Yes, I want Nicole to be happy. That's what I want.
And do you have a relationship where you talk, it's a parenting relationship, and talk professionally about each other's work?
Listen, here's the thing, Peter.
Yeah.
You're stepping over a line now. You're stepping over a line. You know you are.
I suppose they're questions though,
Peter,
that people want to know.
Peter, you want to know. Take responsibility for what you want to know. Don't say what other people. This is a conversation that I'm having with you right now.
You're right.
Okay, so I'm just telling you right now, okay? Just put your manners back in.
Do you think I was out of line?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I apologise for that
Good.
sincerely.
Good.
That's how I feel about it.
Do you believe in your role that there is a place where the world does want to know about your personal life and there is a line that you have to draw?
Absolutely. I mean, I know people are interested, and I don't have a problem with that. And I also don't have a problem to say, hey, listen, you know, where I am with Nick is in a great place. I don't mind answering questions, but there's a way of phrasing something that's polite and has manners. And I have no problem. Of course I know people want to know about my life.
Yeah. But when I read so much about you, Tom, these are questions you answer.
Peter, you want to waste your time on this right
Oh,
now?
I don't.
Or do you want to ask some other questions?
20 years' time, where will Tom
Peter,
Cruise...
good. You want to move on? Peter, come on. Let's go, man. I want to know people. I want to understand what life is about, Peter. And I really... I want to help people. It's not something that I just say. It's something that I actively pursue. And that's how I feel. I feel privileged, truly.
Tom, thank you.
Peter, thanks, man.
What I call an interesting interview.
Thanks, pal. It was terrific. Thank you. Thank you.
It was terrific. God,
I think it was terrific.
even after you told me to learn some manners.
That's all right. You stepped out of line. I whacked you. We got on with it.
Good on you.
상대방의 예민한 부분을 앞뒤 없이 무례하게 찔러대는 사람들에게는 도대체 어떻게 대처해야 하는 걸까요? 물론 어떤 공식이나 정답이 있는 건 아니겠지만 오늘 인터뷰에서의 탐 크루즈의 대처 방법은 적어도 보통 우리가 빠지기 쉬운 양극단에 있지는 않았습니다. 정작 해야 할 말도 못하고 애매하게 마음에 있는 말을 얼버무리다가 지나고 나서 후회하고 마는 그러한 대처법도 아닌, 그렇다고 또 너무 흥분해서 지나친 감정 표현으로 후회할 행동과 말을 쏘아대는 대처법도 아니었습니다. 자신의 생각과 입장은 뚜렷하고 확실하게 밝히되 무례한 감정의 분출보다는 논리적 설명을 택함으로 후회할지도 모를 선을 넘지는 않았습니다. 그리고 뭐니 해도 무엇보다 탐 크루즈의 이 눈빛이 강한 메시지 전달에 한몫한 것 같기도 합니다. 여러분은 이런 상황과 사람들에게 어떻게 대처하시나요? 여러분만의 경험과 노하우를 댓글에 남겨주시기 바랍니다. 오늘도 재미와 유익이 있는 영상이었기를 바랍니다. 그럼 전 또 다음 영상으로 인사드리겠습니다. 행복한 하루 보내시기 바랍니다. 감사합니다.